You know, in the world of global politics, things can change on a dime. One minute, tensions are sky high, and the next, suddenly, the door to diplomacy swings right back open. Today, we're going to break down a really fascinating real-time example of this happening with the US and China, a super sudden shift from a pretty dangerous escalation to a very carefully planned path toward re-engagement. All right, so let's dive right in. This whole story really kicks off just last week with this moment of pretty high drama. And look, this wasn't just the usual background noise. This was a serious, sudden flare-up that put everybody on high alert. And here it is, the official take on what happened. You've got to pay attention to two words here: substantial and unprovoked. See, that's not just diplomatic jargon. That's a very specific charge, saying that one side made a big move and they did it without any justification. That immediately raises the stakes and, well, puts the whole relationship on some very thin ice. So what happens when you have an escalation like that? Well, the first thing that happens is often the most dangerous thing: a complete breakdown in communication. The phones just stop ringing, the back channels go cold, and you're left with this really tense, risky silence where one little miscalculation could lead to disaster. Right, and there's actually a term for this. It's called a diplomatic blackout. The source material puts it so bluntly, it's kind of shocking. They just said they were, quote, unable to get in touch with them. Just think about that for a second. Two of the most powerful countries on Earth, and they're not talking. That is a deeply, deeply concerning situation. So, how do you come back from that? How do you even begin to fix a connection that's been so completely cut off? Well, it's not about one big, grand gesture. It's more of a careful, step-by-step climb up what we can call the diplomatic ladder. And this part is so interesting because it really pulls back the curtain on how this stuff actually works. You see, you don't just jump right back into a presidential summit. No way. You have to start small, cautiously, with what they call working-level people. You know, the staff who do all the groundwork. From there, you slowly escalate the contact. You move up to a call between vice premiers, then a full-on delegation meeting, all of it designed to carefully prepare for that final step, a face-to-face between the two presidents. It's basically a trust-building exercise happening in real time. So what you're really seeing is this very deliberate pivot. I mean, this slide lays it out perfectly. The whole effort is designed to take the situation from one of escalation and silence and completely transform it into one of de-escalation, mutual respect, and getting things back onto what's being called a good course. It's a clear, strategic plan to just reverse the damage. And this quote right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the diplomatic goal. This isn't just about getting the phone lines working again. It's about restoring a fundamental principle: reciprocity. The underlying message is basically, look, for this relationship to be stable, it has to be a two-way street. You just can't have that without mutual respect and playing by the same rules. But you gotta ask, right? What's driving this whole intense step-by-step process? Why this sudden flurry of activity to de-escalate everything? What's the ultimate endgame here? This slide really gives us the key strategic context. First off, the US side believes it's negotiating from a very strong position. That's huge. Second, they're really counting on that personal relationship between the two presidents to be a major asset here. And finally, kind of looming over this whole thing is the possibility of something much, much bigger, a huge potential economic deal. And that brings us to the final, tantalizing question that really frames this entire diplomatic dance. After all the escalation, the silence, and that careful climb back up the ladder, is this all building towards some kind of major economic breakthrough? Could a massive trade deal be the ultimate prize that makes all this high-stakes maneuvering worth it? That remains the multi-trillion-dollar question.